Looking through stuff back in 68, 67, 69, and 70, and looking at the community. And, you know, I had, before I went to Fresno State, I worked for the Department of Agriculture as an inspector. I worked for the city as a water inspector. I had worked as a garbage man. I had worked in canneries. I worked in packing houses. I worked as a farm. Well, all through high school I used to work. In 67, the black community, and the cops used to brag about how they could cut off the west side in 14 minutes. Because what they did is they put like 6 policemen with shotguns at all the freeway off-ramps. And Fresno was such a segregated city that they probably could do that. That's what I saw. But I joined Urban Coalition, right? Suit, tie, short hair. And I started my activism back in 67. So I went to City Hall, sat on those nice chairs, talked about trying to get unemployment for minorities, which I was one. And I started kind of learning a little bit. Then there was some Mexicans here, lawyers. I don't remember Gilbert so much, but different people started going to meet with schools and said, hey, you know, why don't you hire some Mexicans? And they'd say, well, you don't have qualified people and we don't have money. And it was the same old refrain all the time. And about that time I started marching with Sal Gonzalez from Del Rey to Fresno, or going to UFW stuff, and I started getting kind of turned on. But I really didn't know how to do what I was doing. But then when I went to state, you know, I met Leah Ibarra. I met other people that were active, Guillermo Martinez, Jorge Garcia, Ramon Chicano I met briefly, but basically I started being around people that talked the same stuff, that thought the same stuff, and actually thought they could change things, because you have to have a free mind to attack different kinds of problems and issues, and we have a lot of them. And then at Fresno State, you know, there's this book that I have called The Slow Death of Fresno State, written by this professor in 1977. But basically, Fresno hasn't changed that much. Agricultural interests prevail. You have a city council right now that 3 of them are representing white Fresno, and the other ones are representing southeast Fresno. And the white ones always vote against, they manage to get 4 votes and always vote against the things that are our interest. The Board of Supervisors is ridiculous, right? But anyway, you know, we're talking about, there hasn't been a lot of change in the last 40 years or 50 years, or maybe there has, but it's hard to see. So when I went to state, there was the first class of 86 students in EOP, 68, 69. And there was resistance. I don't know that they could take blacks with afros walking there. I don't think that, you know, the black movement was taking off, the Chicano movement was taking off, the LA walkouts was taking off, the Vietnam issue was there, which is like, we were like 5% of the United States population and 12% of the casualties. But me and Raul Pickett were going around City College before I got to state, and we were talking to the students there and say, hey, do you know that you're like 23% of the dropouts and you're only 12% of the population? Because what has to happen is you have to build up these statistical arguments in people's minds for them to understand certain things. And so when I went to state, you know, the Bulldog, the PE department, which are our protagonists, and the Aggies, which are naturally our protagonists, they did different things to us. Some Aggies, some farmer's son from Delano came and introduced the boycott grapes resolution, and we disrupted the student senate. The next day, you were showing a picture where Leah and Luis Valdez and different people, we protested throughout the school and opened up all the doors, you know, boycott grapes and stuff like that. And then this PE department didn't want money to go to EOP, and so what we did is, you know, they ran a campaign, they falsified work-study money, they bought big ads in the Collegian, and they said no money for EOP. Well, that threatened us, and that threatened everybody. So knocked over their booths, they were running people for office, and we pulled all the fire alarms in the school, and we emptied out the school, and we made an ultimatum: no school for you, then no school for you, no school for you, no, there won't be a school for us. Well, none of us will go to school. So we prevailed, we won. And of course, when you win, you lose. You have to understand, that's kind of like life. So what they did is Ness resigned. I had 3 college presidents when I went to college. Ness left because of the pressure of the community. Falk came in as the president of a bank, and he came in and he fired everybody. He fired all the Latinos, fired everybody. They'd say, well, not rehired, not fired. But the point was, there was a purge, and they got rid of people. And so, you know, when I was looking through my articles, in 1967 I joined MEChA, and Jack Ortega was here, and different people were here, and they were trying to organize. And it's amazing because, and you know, our middle class, like my dad worked as a garbage man, okay? And we kind of thought that was middle class, you know. It isn't middle class, but you know, because he had 5 or 6 kids, you know. So I mean, that's like you're not going to make it in a garbage man's wages. But to cut to this chase, we had a cohesive community here. We had MEChA, and we had MEChA. It went through evolution of names, and when we went to Fresno State, when we had the Mesa Directiva, we controlled candidates applying for La Raza studies, and we confronted Baxter on the budgeted positions that were available. That led to some negotiations before the blockage of the gym, which is a registration issue. The thing of it is that, see, you can only do 3 things if you're community organizing, okay? You can embarrass, you can disrupt, or you can destroy, okay? That's the 3 things, okay? Now, destroy, well, obviously, somebody bombed the computer, okay? That was destroy. Watts, that was destruction, okay? Embarrass, you know, you give me a bunch of Chicanos and I get the media and I go and pick at your business, that'll get your attention, okay? Because I'll get like 120,000 copies of the Fresno Bee with a statement about your institution. And of course, embarrass, well, you know, we threw eggs at Berry Hill, who when he came to Fresno and he made some comments about Chicanos and eating tacos, and we threw eggs at him right there in the College Union, and nobody got busted. But there was and then of course the lettuce boycott, okay? Now you have to understand, put this in perspective. The lettuce boycott was done by the students, accepted by the Student Senate, and the board of directors, I got 1 minute, the board of directors voted against it. And the Adelitas made 600 burritos in one night, man. You talk about power. But the point of it is that, you know, that's only up to a certain part of my life. But the point of it is that that's kind of my background, and that kind of shaped me as an organizer and trying to do some things in the community. Thank you.